Major disturbance in Road Town signals mental health issues in the Virgin Islands. Tull, author of Mental Health Pandemic, provides insight. Nothing to hide, says Premier Fahie, following the discovery of his involvement in the BVI Health Services saga. And Guidance Counselor Week highlights the role of school counselors in the Virgin Islands. Multi-year work permits to be considered in certain industries as a temporary solution to the work permit crisis being experienced in the territory. And Prime Minister Mottley calls out banks across the region on bad practices. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Live stream cable TV is here with CCT Live. Access over 80 channels that you can watch either at home or when you're on the go. And don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Rewind and watch in your own time. Come to CCT today and ask about our 1-month free trial offer. CCT Live. Bring it home.
Welcome everybody. It is a Monday, February 14th, 2022. I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola, Virgin Islands, my home, my paradise. A happy Monday to one and all, and of course a happy Valentine's Day to all our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us. Beginning our newscast on quite a daunting note, there was a major disturbance over the weekend in close proximity to the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital as an unidentified male was caught on video damaging windshields of almost 20 parked vehicles in the area. Now, it is unclear what sparked the incident, which according to reports was done by one male. Following inquiries on the matter by 284 News, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force confirmed that the lone male was apprehended by officers. Officials said, and I quote, "The individual has been apprehended. Investigations are ongoing." The man, said to be of an unsound mind, went on a rage, smashing close to 20 cars in the public parking lot in Road Town. It was not until officers of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force arrived on the scene that the rampage by the deranged man ceased. Several persons witnessing the incident had no choice, they say, but to look on from a safe distance in fear of the man turning on them should they attempt to stop him. Now, owners of the damaged vehicles, of course, most hospital staff and employees and customers of nearby businesses are now left to sort out their uncalculated expenses. But the very unfortunate incident has awoken a more serious problem within the Virgin Islands, and that is, of course, mental health. Shortly after this incident, two more videos circulated across the Virgin Islands, one showing a male in a supermarket parking lot standing by the window of a female sitting in her car behaving inappropriately. This is not the first time this is said to have happened, and this was in addition to another video showing a female outside of the emergency room of the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital behaving erratically. Many have said, viewers, that more attention needs to be paid to mental health, their signs, prevention, and the overall well-being of residents. Moreover, these videos show how the lives of other residents are essentially in danger as a result of the mental well-being of others. In an exclusive interview, I sat down today with Tull out of New York City, who is the author of Mental Health Pandemic. Tull, a clinical psychotherapist, consultant, and life coach, is a Caribbean man who says he is committed to improving the social development of humanity as it relates to individuals and communities everywhere. Tull recently launched his book Mental Health Pandemic, which he says explores the premise that mental health has become the pandemic within the pandemic. Here's what he had to say.
I think we have to start with the language we use around mental health, and we think that mental health is this abstract thing that we just talk about. But really, mental health is what you and I are doing, having a conversation, engaging, looking for ways that we can connect with the people that in our lives that may be experiencing a mental health crisis. And as you alluded to, the two persons that died by suicide, I think it's important for us to use the appropriate language. When we say someone killed himself or committed suicide, it's like we're blaming the victims. So we want to be very clear with the language we use, that they died by suicide. And I just want us to think what it takes for someone to even consider that and the amount of pain that they did. Yeah.
So when we consider the inner thoughts of someone, let's take, for example, the former Miss USA, her most recent post said, "May this day bring you rest and peace." When we look at the language of persons and some of the subliminal messages that they might be sending, how can we be picking up on these signs?
It's very baffling, and we have to be very clear that suicide is a baffling phenomenon. I do think that when someone is in the throes of a mental health crisis, their goal is to not to let everyone around them see how they're suffering. Their presentation is very clear. They want to convince everyone around them how well they are. We're very concerned about when someone is depressed and they're labile and they're in bed and they're crying and they're not getting out. That's when we're concerned about if they may hurt themselves. But the reality is, when someone is that depressed, they don't have the energy to execute what they're thinking about if they're contemplating suicide. And that's the baffling thing about suicide. If you look back in history, when someone dies by suicide, the whole community left gasping for air because it is so shocking, it's overwhelming, and you have conversations with your peers, and they're very clear that I spoke to this person yesterday. They were fine. They were doing well. We didn't see this coming, because when someone is committed to executing this act, they will find a way to do it. And it's just for us to pay keen attention to the people in our lives. And like you said, some of the messages are subliminal, but sometimes they're very clear messages. But there is no roadmap to this. It's just about us paying attention, engaging the people in our lives, and following our gut feeling. If you know someone very well and you see it in the past 3 weeks to a month, their behavior has changed drastically, you may want to engage them in a conversation and use facts. In the last 3 weeks, I've seen this drastic change in you. What's going on? How can I support you through this experience?
Viewers, author Shane Tull also spoke to the culture and mindset of Caribbean nationals when digesting the issue of mental health.
I think one of the things we need to do is really demystify the myth around mental health. And these things happen with education and conversations and stakeholders. I think that a society itself needs to be very clear that mental health is health, and we need to have these safe spaces where people can come and ventilate their feelings. And it needs to be a collaboration from government, business, and other stakeholders, that we create a space that it's and send a message out that it's okay not to be okay, but it's also okay to get the help you need. And that has to be a collaborative effort. It takes a community to support us. If you think of when someone dies, the community support. When someone gets married, the community support. So in mental health, it is a community support that we will have to take. But we first have to get over the notion that mental health is this obscure thing. And as Caribbean people, we have a shame around mental health. If
Yes.
we have a family member that is struggling, and that is what needs to be spoken to, the shame around the person that is experiencing the mental health crisis. And how do we educate families and loved ones to support this person, giving them the right tools and the right education, and also the correct support?
Viewers, to view the full interview with author Shane Tull, it aired earlier today at 6 p.m. and is available on all platforms. Now, continuing on the local scene, the Premier of the British Virgin Islands, the Honourable Andrew A. Fahie, has made it clear that he had nothing, he says, to hide regarding his knowledge of and involvement in the recent suspensions of 2 senior BVI Health Services Authority employees. The Premier made the statement during a recent press conference in response to questions posed by 284 News after a leaked document directly contradicting the Premier's previous comment showed that which says that he had no details of what was taking place regarding the matter. However, the letter showed that he had direct involvement and rather spearheaded the sending home of the 2 senior individuals. Our Kamal Haynes has the story.
Premier the Honorable Andrew A. Fahie was recently caught in an entanglement with his words after his denial of having any details that could have explained the recent sacking of two senior BVI Health Services Authority employees was later contradicted by a leaked document which showed that the Premier was directly at the helm of the sacking. Well, during last Friday's press conference, the Premier said his words were misinterpreted and that he had nothing to hide regarding the incident. In fact, the Premier said since the matter was internal and not made public at the time, his goal was not to preempt the investigations, since publicly commenting on the situation could have been damaging to the individuals involved if the investigations proved otherwise.
It is an ongoing investigation, and it was something that I'm not the one who's doing the investigation. So it wasn't trying to hide anything at all. I was letting it take its position. I realized how it came out. The media is like they have it as a gotcha moment, but it's not something that I would put in the public domain at all. I do not want to pronounce persons guilty, and they may be innocent. I don't want to come out and say someone is innocent, and this process haven't been completed to show whether it holds true that they're innocent or otherwise. So because you're dealing with people's reputation and you're dealing with an institution, and also you're dealing with an institution that deals with people's health. So you don't want to create environment of instability or instability in a time when you don't have to. That's not true leadership. So, but since it came out, I have to say where we stand on it and what it's about. But at the same time, though, from all level, we still have to wait until the process is completed.
The Premier also said that while ordinarily it is not for him to get involved with the day-to-day running of a statutory board, as the Minister of Finance and considering the large stake of government within the Health Services Authority of more than $40 million, he had a right to inquire about the matter.
It is not for the Minister of Finance to get involved in the day-to-day running of any board of any ministry. But the Minister of Finance also has to be mindful that the people's health care must be of utmost importance. So if there's any issues with the establishment on that line, that is the one concern. Second concern is that be mindful that the central government is the main shareholder of the BVI Health Services Authority, and is over $40 million just about that you have to put into the establishment. So if there's a concern, the Minister of Finance has a right to ask about about the institution and how those funds are being spent. And third of all, it is that the Minister of Finance and Premier, in terms of roles, must always make sure that there are due process. So it is a matter of bringing out what is the truth. Just allow that to come out. And for me not to get involved in how it is done or who it will be done with. So it was a matter of making sure that you get allow the due process, allow transparency to happen, allow all the arms of the whether it be the audit or whatever, all who are involved to do their work and be fair across the board, transparent across the board, so that it can stand the test of time. So it's not a matter of denying that you had full knowledge or denying that you had some knowledge. What came to me is what I dealt with. Now the depths of it, I'm not involved in the depths of it. I wanted to take its due course and let what needs to come out, come out. But as Minister of Finance, we do have a stake in this, what happens in the healthcare for the many reasons that I've named, and we'll continue to keep a copious eye on it without getting involved or interfering to that level.
The leader of government business further said that in his opinion, the decision of the Minister of Health to get involved with the matter was not an overreach of authority.
In terms of policy, the line person for the Minister of Finance and Premier to any ministry is his colleague, no matter who is in power, or is her colleague, or male or female, but that's the line. So if there are concerns along the line of what I've stated, that being the main shareholder and being also that people's health is of paramount importance to any country, and also being that you want to maintain a good governance, then the minister, Premier Minister, finance will make sure they do two things. If it's a heavy financial matter, you would align it through the minister and the financial secretary. And if it is a matter that's not on the financial aspect, mainly or at all, you direct it to the minister and ask him to please give some kind of intervention, because when these problems come up, we also have to go to the House of Assembly if a question is asked to answer them. So you cannot leave the main shareholder out if they have concerns.
Well, viewers, as more continue to unfold regarding this matter, we will keep you updated. But until then, I'm Kamal Haynes reporting for 24 News.
That was our very own Kamal Haynes. Viewers, up next, multi-year work permits to be considered in certain industries as a temporary solution to the work permit crisis here in the Virgin Islands. We dissect the story for you and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
The wait is over! CCT Fire is here! Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire, bring it home and upgrade today.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works. Viewers, welcome back. Continuing on the local scene, the possibility of a multi-year work permit could likely become a reality in the territory of the Virgin Islands as one of the temporary solutions in resolving the existing backlog of work permit applications at the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. This was one of the suggested ideas proposed by a resident during a recent stakeholders meeting that was held to address the issues facing the department. Labor Commissioner Ms. Michelle McLean said that the territory's labor code presently supports 3-year work permits. However, she said she had some concerns with the issuing of a work permit for such a long period, since in her opinion, it puts locals at a disadvantage in acquiring certain jobs. Ms. McLean said if the idea is considered, a clause will need to be inserted within the policy, and it will have to be made available only for specific industries.
I think that we would have to look at the specific industry, because then doing so would place BVI landers belongers at a disadvantage, because then you would appoint somebody with a 3-year work permit and a BVI lander belanger may want to come home, may desire to go into another job, and because of that, they are unable to. So I don't think it could be a blanket statement. We have to actually sit down and state in terms of what industry, and maybe put in a clause as to how long it may not necessarily have to be for the 3 years.
Meanwhile, viewers, Minister for Labor and Immigration, the Honorable Vincent O. Wheatley, and 9th District Representative, also shared similar concerns to the Labor Commissioner. Despite these concerns, the minister said he was very open to an idea as a short-term solution to the work permit backlog.
I hear you, Commissioner, that would be my concern also. We have to make sure as we get our labor force organized, that at the same time we don't disenfranchise the locals. But I do believe it's something worth exploring deeper. Because in the short term, if somebody is going to get, let's say, a 2-year permit, or you decide a certain number gets 2 years, it's going to cut down on the congestion in the office, for next year. Because the person will not come back next year, but probably the following year. It is something worth exploring. I'm prepared to actually explore that, and I like it. It's a very interesting suggestion. I think it's something that might work as a short-term solution to avoid persons coming back so quickly again.
And during the meeting, it was revealed that the department had a backlog of, get this, some 2,064 work permit applications that still needed to be processed. National School Counseling Week 2022 was observed last week from February 7th to the 11th, 2022 under the theme School Counselors Better Together. The week highlighted the tremendous impact school counselors have in helping students achieve school success and plan for a career. New Horizon Guidance, comprising of counselors from across the public schools in the Virgin Islands through the Ministry of Education, observed Guidance Counseling Week from February 7th to the 11th. Under the theme School Counselors Better Together, the focus, of course, was on the unique contributions of school counselors within the territory's school system. In an invited comment, coordinator of the week events, Ms. BVIHSA Smith, said, National School Counseling Week is always observed the first full week in February. The special week honoring school counselors provides recognition for school counselors who implement comprehensive school counseling programs, which are a vital part of the educational process for all students as they meet the challenges of the 21st century. Now, Counselor Smith also shared her life philosophy, which helps her to execute her duties as a counselor, stating, and I quote, I believe that with God's help, a strong sense of self and a progressive planning strategy, any goal is obtainable. Viewers, the following counselors were recognized during the week of their contributions. Primary school counselors are Mrs. Sharon Leonard, coordinator, Miss Ingrid Waters, Miss Desiree Shinnery Gomez, Mr. Jacob Edwards, Mrs. Teresha Dawson, Mr. Cedric Thomas, and Mrs. Liana Taylor. Secondary school counselors are Miss BVIHSA Smith, coordinator, Miss Kimmer DeWint, Miss Kirianne Malone, Miss Shanice Leonard, Miss Amy Gordon, Mrs. Shonda George, Miss Donlyn Mitchell. Guidance counselors are really offering a range of services and are a crucial part of the education system. Guidance counselors essentially help all students in preparing for life. The counseling system is in place to help students achieve their future career and their social interactions. Viewers, up next, we pan across the region as Mia Mottley calls out banks on bad practices across the region. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new season of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. It doesn't always involve suits and, bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. This season, I'm taking you on an entirely different journey, from chefs to dancers, philanthropists, communications specialists, and much more. I'm heading outside in the field to share the journey of some of the BVI's best and brightest men. From East End to West End, Bojangada, Justin Lake, not forgetting Anigada. Our Virgin Islands gentlemen are doing the damn thing, and I'm so proud. Get ready to reason, reflect, and redirect. We are the movers and shakers of this generation, and we ain't afraid to show it. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 3 by yours truly, Ron Grant, raising a generation of greatness. Welcome back. The British Virgin Islands Airports Authority announced via a press release that the Terence B. Lettsome International Airport has achieved international accreditation from Airport Council International, ACI, through the Airport Health Accreditation AHH program. According to the release, the accreditation lasts up to 1 year and prioritizes health and safety in measurable established manners. The accreditation program is used to assess how aligned the airport health measures are with the ACI airport operations and COVID-19 business recovery guideline, as well as the ICAO Council Aviation Restart Task Force recommendations. Now, as such, by receiving the accreditation, the TB Lettsome Airport has achieved the international benchmarks for safety operations in the COVID-19 era. Subsequently, the BVI Ports Authority says that this contributes to favorable positioning the Virgin Islands as a safer destination for travel, whilst supporting the Virgin Islands tourism industry and by, of course, extension, its economy. In December of 2020, the Terence B. Lettsome International Airport became the second airport in the region and the first of the British Overseas Territories to achieve this accreditation. Viewers, we pan across the region where Prime Minister of Barbados Mia Mottley is calling out banks on their bad practices. In a recently held national address to the nation of Barbados and by extension the region, Mia Mottley really held banks accountable and called them to do better as it relates to their clients. Take a look.
But let us talk straight. Banks are intended to be in the business of financial intermediation, not security. If I wanted a watchman for my money, I would go and hire a security guard. But if we want money to work for the financial services sector and for development, then we need to appreciate that a loan-to-deposit ratio of 55%, when the developed world has ratios of 80%, tells me that we have people here who are watching people's money rather than working people's money. It cannot continue. Notion that people can be paid fees or have to pay fees for minimum deposits, but poor people can keep $2 in a bank now. Or rich people with large deposits now have to pay or are being asked to pay fees because you have a deposit that is over 10 million or 20 million. An act that will hurt, in particular, the credit union movement, whose deposits are lodged into the banking sector, or anyone, even lawyers with clients' accounts. It cannot be. And at the very time that we are asking you as a private sector, and we're asking Barbadians as individuals to think outside of the box, it cannot be that we are going to sit idly by and allow persons to abandon their purpose of financial intermediation and to go into the business of security. Now, I'm not meaning to be invidious. I'm not meaning to be offensive in any way. But I don't know how many more times to say it, and therefore I have advised the governor of the central bank that if we don't get it right, then the government will legislate, because it is not fair to the people or the businesses in this nation.
Viewers, that was Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Mottley. Now, when you put into consideration and holistically view, residents across the region are really asking, what is the role of banks? Are you there to truly support the needs of residents and businesses, or is it simply for personal gain? Of course, once the statements by Prime Minister Mottley aired, many persons took to social media really agreeing with her on the level of hardships and difficulty that are experienced when it comes to banking, and particularly in this case, lending. Viewers, that is it for today's News Roundup. It is always an honor and privilege to bring you the daily happenings, both locally, regionally, and internationally. We do hope you have a beautiful rest of the day. And of course, we will see you again tomorrow as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content. We are 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news, right here on 284 Media in the British Virgin Islands. A happy Monday to everybody. Once again, have a great evening. I'm Ron Grant, reporting for 284 News. Bye-bye.
Live stream cable TV is here with CCT Live. Access over 80 channels that you can watch either at home or when you're on the go. And don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Rewind and watch in your own time. Come to CCT today and ask about our 1-month free trial offer. CCT Live. Bring it home.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest.